enjoy the webinar.
Thanks, Colette. Afternoon, evening, morning, everybody. My job is very simple today. I have a real pleasure in introducing Dr. Nidal Abou Zaki. He is the founder of Orient Planet Group. He founded it in 2000. The group has offices all over the Middle East. So they have offices in the United Arab Emirates, in Saudi Arabia, in Bahrain, Kuwait, Lebanon, and Egypt. Nidal, you can tell me if I missed anywhere. But not only that, they've got a footprint right across North Africa. So a footprint into Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Libya, and Sudan. Orient Planet is probably one of the fastest growing PR consultancies in the Middle East. And Nidal Abou Zaki is one of the most knowledgeable PR practitioners in the region. In 2014, he formed Orient Planet Academy, and Orient Planet Academy offers Irish Academy of PR courses in English and Arabic ever since. So we've had a long friendship and a long association over the years. I'm really looking forward to his presentation. His insights are always worth listening to. And when Colette said to put your questions in the chat, I have no doubt, as you think of the questions, pop them in, because we will all have lots of questions at the end. Nidal, I'll hand over to you.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon from Dubai. I think that for some of you it's the morning. So warm regards from the sunny Dubai, and I hope that you have a nice day. I hope that this presentation will be useful for you. It's a pleasure to be here. I would like to thank Ellen and her team in the Irish Academy for this nice invitation. I hope that we can enjoy the subject today. We just finished in Dubai here the Arab Media Forum. It's an annual forum for journalists from the Arab world to come. So it's supported by the government of Dubai, and we had just like 3,000 journalists who came. And one of the interesting topics, of course, is going to be about the future of journalism in the age of social media and citizen journalism. This is going to be a hot topic in the coming future, and I think that it's good that we are going to be well prepared for these changes that's happening in the media world. Since the forum ended yesterday, so it would be good to tell you about what we discussed during the two-day forum. Among the topics to be discussed is that, the traditional media was asking about the future of the industry itself. There were a lot of influencers who are defending the social media and citizen journalism, and there are traditional media who are really defending traditional journalism and showing some kind of fear from the changes in the landscape of media towards social media and digital marketing, and about the dramatic changes that artificial intelligence and ChatGPT can cause to the future of the industry. Also, I visited a few days ago a government entity in Dubai that is using artificial intelligence to develop posts on social media. So now you don't need a social media executive. Artificial intelligence can do everything for you. They can write books for you. They can write articles, do research. So we are really witnessing a lot of changes in the industry. And I think that we are in a transition period. We don't know the future. We don't know where this is going to lead us to. So, but it would be good to explore with you in the coming 30, 40 minutes how we are moving forward.
I've spoken again.
Excuse me, if we can ask people to mute their phones, their microphones. So basically, in addition to running Orient Planet, I'm an author, so I edited 2 books in Arabic. One is about the future Gulf, which is the future of the Gulf region, Arabian Gulf region after the oil era. And the other one is about smart cities in the Arab world. So basically, we have a group called Orient Planet Group. It's comprising of 5 different units. We've been in the market for 23 years. We are based in 8 regional offices in the Middle East, and we have about 100 people in the group. So what we're going to discuss today is a few topics that are related to what's the definition of citizen journalism, how it's going to affect journalism, how about social media and its implication on journalism in general, and we are going to discuss a few ideas. Basically, there are 3 incidents in the Arab world in the last 30 days that I've been watching how the media covered them and how people got the information. So there is the earthquake in Morocco, which happened, I think, 2 weeks ago. Then there's the floodings in Libya where 2 dams were wiped, and then they killed about 20,000 people in Darna city in the eastern part of Libya. And the third incident that happened yesterday where a wedding tent was burned in Iraq and killed more than 120 people. So I've been watching this, and then apparently nobody, 90% of people followed the social media to get information. They didn't wait for the traditional media. So this is the impact that the social media and instant media and online media is affecting the traditional media. So in the past, the media was called the fourth estate. So it was strong to say that this is the fourth authority in the society. So nowadays, some people are saying that the social media is becoming the fifth estate. And this statement is coming from the founder of Oxford Internet Institute. So it's becoming as strong as the media, or even maybe a kind of the new face of media. So let's see what is the effect of social media on journalism. So basically, it basically created an evolution on journalism. Before social media, I think that I'm not sure who is from the new generation, who's from the old generation, but at our times, we used to get news from newspapers and local TV channels. And then in the 90s and after, we started to see the dishes, and then CNN, BBC, and we were exposed to the international media on TV. And then the internet came, and then after that, we started to get news from all over, but it was still like more of a website. And then the evolution reached the social media, and then suddenly we've seen that everybody is a journalist. In the past, we used to study in universities to become journalists, and then we have to get certificates and practice a lot, and then study journalism and ethics and professional journalism and objectivity and so on. And all of this was waived with social media, because every person now is a journalist. Every influencer is maybe has more influence than traditional media. And then it connected everybody together. So whether the person on social media who's sitting next to me in the other room, or he's sitting in Brazil or in Latin America or in Asia, we are connected at the same time. So there's no time limitation, there's no delay. It's supposed to be like instant. So if I post something, the person next to me can see it at the same time that the person in the USA or in Ireland or anywhere else. So basically, social media enabled global connectivity. We are all connected in the same way. Speedy information dissemination, there's a problem, we report it, there's an incident, we report it, and suddenly it's everywhere. So these are some of the advantages. And then opportunity for news consumers to participate in the process. So basically, you can comment. In the past, like you can get news without commenting. It's one-way communication. You read newspaper, you watch TV, you read a website, you don't communicate. Nowadays, it's a two-way communication. You put something, people comment, and it can go viral, and so on. So basically, even journalists nowadays, when they post professional stories, they are also putting it on social media. So they are all playing the role of social media activists and then journalists at the same time. What do we mean by citizen journalism? Because I use this expression a lot without defining it. So citizen journalism gained a lot of popularity because it's done by non-journalists. So people are not journalists, they are people from the street reporting. So how we can define it? So it's basically citizen journalism refers to the practice of individuals who are not professional journalists. So those people did not study journalism. They can be students, they can be from all aspects of life. They can be mature people, non-mature people, and at the end of the day, they collect, report, and disseminate news using digital tools and platforms. And I think that you've seen that every influencer who's having maybe 100,000 followers or more is becoming maybe as effective as a newspaper sometimes or as a magazine. He can create news, he can disseminate news, he can attract a lot of followers, and sometimes people believe him maybe more than traditional media. So citizen journalism is basically offering people collaborative media, participatory journalism, democratic journalism, that's the expression that's used, guerrilla journalism or street journalism. So basically I'm sorry, just need to move this. So this category of journalism further amplified by the rise of the internet and digital communication technologies. So people now are connected to the internet. They have Facebook, they have LinkedIn, they have X, and then they can really, it's the same platform that any media is using. So it's also providing the opportunity for people who are not maybe highly educated or not necessary to be rich or without any capital to have their media channel. So just imagine in the past how much it's costing to create a newspaper or a magazine and how the bureaucracy and the red tape to create this. And suddenly somebody now will open a Facebook channel, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever, and then he can create his own channel with zero investment. He only needs internet and some digital knowledge. So basically how we are going to understand that citizen journalism and versus the traditional journalism. So how it's different, of course, the image on the left is the traditional journalism with the, I think that the image that usually we see on TV channels. And then the one on the right is representing that is citizen journalism that is really, that's affecting how people are going to cover the incidents that's happening all over the world. So let's say that traditional journalism is that it's involving researching, reporting, editing news stories, disseminating verified information. So it's more of structured news that we see in newspapers, radio, TV, magazines. Whereas citizen journalism involves the non-professional people, I mean, not professional in the means that they didn't study journalism, they didn't study the ethics of journalism, the boundaries, how to be objective, and so on in the academic way. So those people didn't enter any academic school. By using digital tools to collect and share news. So basically, they can share it in a way that they can participate in sharing news in a democratic way. So basically it's called also street journalism. And the big question is that, is traditional journalism being affected by the rise of citizen journalism? Actually, this was a big question in the Arab Media Forum, which happened 2 days ago in Dubai. And then we say, let's get into the history of traditional journalism first. So we say that even, since the civilization started, some kind of daily events and public speeches in the old Rome was created. And then in the 17th century, we saw that, newspapers started. And then 20th century, we saw radio, TV, and visual storytelling. And then in the late 20s, early 21, we've seen the digital revolution with the internet. And then today, traditional media, is becoming quite challenging. And then it was challenged by online platform and social media due by the ease and convenience of receiving news anytime, anywhere, and then from anybody. And that's why it's called citizen journalism. So actually in the Arab Media Forum as well, because it's still fresh in my mind, one of the editors-in-chief in a famous newspaper in the Arab world was questioning is that how, for God's sake, like we as traditional media, we are getting less and less income while our cost is increasing, and then all these social media platforms are taking free news from us. So we produce content, they benefit from it. And this is going to be a challenge also for traditional media, how they are going to survive with the lack of advertising and the lack of audience, because I don't think that anybody is going now to wait for a traditional newspaper to carry the news next day. When there's a problem, when there's something to know that, we usually get it from the social media platform and digital platform. Nobody is going to wait for a magazine, for example. So what's the effects of citizen journalism? So citizen journalism, as we said, is that the people who are acting as journalists, who are acting as journalists on social media platforms. So the first advantage is that immediate reporting. I remember that the incident in Iraq was reported on social media immediate, and suddenly you can see a lot of unedited, unprofessional video clips that are describing the catastrophe that happened in the wedding tent in Iraq yesterday, I think. And then the floods in Libya who killed 20,000 people recently, a week ago. So these incidents are immediately reported thanks to citizen journalism and people who are covering this on social media. And then, diverse perspectives. So basically in social media and digital media, you can just hear all of these from the different voices and opinions. So it's not like one channel. So you don't hear the news from one channel as in traditional media. Local reporting. So basically people are reporting it immediately from the incident, wherever it's happening. So basically everybody is having a mobile phone. So every mobile phone is a media outlet these days. And every Facebook and Instagram is again a media outlet. Collaboration opportunities. So it's also sometimes even professional journalists are contacting those social media reporters to take their news. And then sometimes the content is sharing and it's interactive. And then it's complementing traditional media. So those who are encouraging the move toward social media and digital platforms are saying that we are complementing traditional media, we are not only competing with them. So we are filling the gaps, because sometimes if there's an incident somewhere, there is a sudden meeting, there's a problem somewhere, it's covered by social media. So they say that we are filling the gap, and then we are really trying to fill the gap where there is limited resources in the traditional media. So I think we all remember tsunami in 2004, and then was the beginning that when people covered it with their mobile phones better than and faster than the traditional media. So from 2004 onwards, we've started to feel that citizen journalism is gaining more popularity. So this is like the difference between traditional media and citizen journalism, traditional journalism and citizen journalism. for the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami. So basically, due to the lack of resources in traditional journalism, it was covered in an official way, newspapers, radio, TV, and so on, with a lot of in-depth analysis, expert commentary, background details. So basically, in traditional media, we use a kind of a professional template that we study at the university. So we know how to put background information, expert commentary, in-depth analysis, and, a lot of analysis. While in citizen journalism, social media, we really don't care about this too much. We just put a video, 30 seconds, we cover an incident without too much explanation. And I think this is a topic that was discussed here also in a recent event, that people these days are impatient. They don't have time. I mean, in the Arab world, one song in the 70s was 1 hour, and now the song is 2 minutes. People were watching on TV a report for 5 minutes about an incident. Now they want it in 30 seconds. So the people in the new age of journalism, they are not patient. They want everything quickly. They don't care about the analysis. They don't care about the background information. They don't care about the professionalism of the video. They just want to get news. So that's why you see that a lot of popular videos on the internet are even not taken in a professional camera and not following any rules in journalism. They just it's called fluid journalism. It's basically you open your camera, you take the shot, you put it there, and sometimes it's becoming viral, and sometimes it's getting money and return to the producer more than the traditional media. So basically, citizen journalism is using social media platforms, personal websites, and so on. So basically, we've seen this also in COVID, in the pandemic, where I think that most of us, to be honest, were following social media platforms to get news. Sometimes the news is correct, sometimes it's not correct. Some people will say that the vaccine is good. Some people, they say the vaccine is not good. Some people say that COVID is man-made, and some people say that COVID is by nature, and so on. So all this debate, if you've seen, mainly it happened on social media, where people are acting as journalists, individual journalists, without any experience in journalism. That's, again, a challenge. So it's nice to have social media, but it's not nice when there are rumors that are becoming facts because people believe in them. So I think that a lot of people, especially the people who are elderly, they really took them a lot of time to understand that traditional journalism is moving forward. And then there's a new form of journalism, which is the social media, where people are becoming all journalists. I mean, in fact, social media tools are offering us all to become journalists and editors, because anybody who can write a text, or anybody who has a camera in his hand or with his phone, he can become a journalist. So let's see the technical approach of both sides, traditional journalism and citizen journalism. So basically, of course, traditional journalism, they do it in a structured way, comprehensive coverage, in-depth analysis, expert opinion, and broader context. So some people are still in love with reading long articles. And then, of course, they follow the rules that we learn at university: accuracy. We don't put misleading statements, misinterpretation. We really create some kind of self-censorship. So we watch what we write. We avoid incorrect information. While in citizen journalism is that people can disseminate the information rapidly without really following any of these rules. So basically, at the age of social media and citizen journalism, everything is broken. There is no commitment for anything. So we don't know if the people who are following accuracy, ethical commitments, if they are reporting news in a fake way, deliberately or non-deliberately, because also false information can be created with bad intention, and some of it can be created with good intention. So basically, we can use our smartphones and internet access, and that's it. We become journalists. So if you see that, how citizen journalism covered the London bombing in 2005, I think this was the first incident that people start using their smartphone to cover the incident. So people read the news in the professional news agencies, and then they got the news from the social media platforms. So here are some challenges and benefits of citizen journalism. Actually, this is a fact, means we are moving towards citizen journalism, and we are already living this, although it's still a little bit disorganized, so there are no rules. I think companies like Google and Facebook and Instagram and all these platforms are struggling to filter their platforms from fake news and from, content that can create conflict or hatred or any kind of conflicts. But at the end of the day, their success is still marginal. And then, so that's why it's a fact, it's happening. So it's having challenges and benefits. So some of the challenges in this is that verification and accuracy, we cannot verify this. Actually, there's an echo with one of the microphones. And then there is ethical concerns, because in traditional journalism, we have strict ethical rules, while on social journalism, we don't have these kind of ethical rules. So that's why sometimes it can create privacy invasion, consent issues, and conflict of interest. Resource constraints. So basically, because of the insufficient equipment and then lack of knowledge, there is no in-depth reporting. It can be done in a kind of as amateurs, so it's not like professional coverage. Misinformation spread. You can easily create a video that can be controversial without really confirming the news if it's correct or not, and then spread it. And then information overload. I think that also on social media, you can see that sometimes it's congested, means you don't hear one voice. It's like coming from different people, and then each one will interpret it in the way that he wants, so that there is a lot of overload of information. I think there is extra information that sometimes we don't need this much of information. Okay, so this was the challenges. These were the challenges. Now we came to the benefits. So in terms of benefits, we have fast information sharing. So social media can be instant. You can report things as it's happening. You can report it live. You can counter censorship. So it's not bypassing the censorship that usually governments put on new traditional newspapers and magazines. Diverse reporting. So basically, it's also, different people at one place can report different angles, different stories, different people. Personal connections. So basically, people are there, they are reporting. So basically, people are on the ground, and then, they can communicate with each other. And then it's raising awareness, because sometimes they can cover areas that traditional media do not cover. For example, there are a lot of sad stories in my country, Lebanon, or in Egypt. Sometimes the media do not highlight. So people who are, when there's violence, when there's issues in the streets, so sometimes the social media can report it in a better way. So as we are living with social media, of course, crisis is part of it because every day we are facing the issue of rumors on social media. So how to avoid the challenges of citizen journalism in terms of crisis management? So social media has become a critical component of crisis management because as everybody is becoming a journalist, there's no one source, nobody can control it. So basically, each person is a reporter, and then crisis can happen every day. It can be a small problem, it can be a big problem. So the issue is that also anybody can amplify any issue, and then it's becoming a kind of a big problem. So sometimes also competitors do it to each other. So you can find that one restaurant chain is spreading rumors about another chain, or taking an incident that's true and amplify it so that with the hope that it will reach, it will affect their competitors. So it's used as a weapon, as a tool to demolish sometimes or affect negatively the reputation of people. So here is a crisis management issue. So Burger King tried to do something funny on their Women's Day, and they put women belong in the kitchen. And they meant by it is that, you know, a joke. And then, but it was not received by people as joke. And then really it created a big problem for them. Another incident in Domino's. So basically, people took video about some health or hygiene issues in one of the Domino's branches in Hammonds, and then they spread it, and then suddenly there are millions of viewers who were sharing this kind of video, and then it created a problem for Domino's, and then the CEO had to publicly apologize and then take actions and say that we closed the branch in North Carolina and we took the necessary measures and so on, but the damage reached millions of people. So these are some tips to handle crisis management. Basically, I think most of the people now, most of the companies, they have something called social listening on social media, so that when something is mentioning their name, any platform is mentioning their name, there's a software to catch it, capture it, and send it to them, so they know if there's any problem. So companies like Pepsi Cola or Coca-Cola or any kind of medicine or any kind of food chain, they put social media listening and they watch it 24 hours so that they know if there's any problem that's affecting their brand. And then they have to prepare crisis management manual, and then they have to practice what could be the possible crisis management, and then so that they can respond promptly to the issue. Actually, recently in Egypt, there was an incident with a kind of a noodles company. I will not mention the name, but there were rumors that eating too much noodles from that brand can kill people because it's having some kind of bad ingredients, that chemicals that are dangerous for the human beings and so on. So they had to do a kind of a big social media campaign. So basically we have to develop social media policy, copywriting guidelines, and so on. And then also in the way that we respond, we have to follow certain criteria, whether we should reply or we shall let the wave go and then disappear, or we should put, we should really interact, and in what way, because sometimes if you reply, it can create controversial subjects. So also you have to take into consideration the social impact, because here, for example, we are living in the Arab world. There is a lot of social implications for what you write on social media. Sometimes people take it positively, negatively, and then it has to be quite deliberate. So digital and media literacy, how to avoid the challenges of social media. So we agreed that social media is part of our life and we cannot avoid it, and then we cannot avoid that others are writing about us and about our organization, about our countries. So this is something that we cannot avoid, but how to deal with it? So dealing with the digital, and so we have to create media literacy, digital and media literacy. So we have to say that it's very important to see the benefits of citizen journalism, and then how it can help us to spread good information, but also we have to learn how to not encourage or circulate the content that can promote hatred, misinformation, rumors that are sometimes having a kind of racism. We can avoid it. And then how we should learn how digital and media literacy can play a significant role to sometimes counter negative news. So it can be used in both ways. So it can spread negative news and it can correct negative news. And then what's the definition of media literacy? So according to the Center of Media Literacy, defines media literacy as a framework to access, analyze, evaluate, create, and participate with messages in a variety of forms that's not exploitive, yet educative, from print to video to internet. So media literacy is important because the messages, images, information, and experiences we engage with every day through media help shape our beliefs, attitudes, values, and identity. So what are the benefits of media literacy? Why we should really we have media literacy? Because at the end of the day, we have to create our own judgment of media. Each one of us should judge the information, filter the information that he wants so that he's not affected by wrong information. He is not misled by wrong information. And then we have to create a distinction between emotions and facts, because at the end of the day, we can follow sometimes our emotions when we follow social media, and sometimes our emotions can lead us to wrong information. So the benefits of media literacy is that it addresses ethical and moral obligations of media practitioners. So it will be good for people to follow this route. So ethical standard of journalism and social responsibility. So basically ethical standards. Some of the key ethical principles every journalist professional should adhere in their work are, even if you are a social journalist or citizen journalist, but there are certain rules. First of all, accuracy. So basically, if you are reporting something, we have to follow accuracy and then put truthful information. About fairness and objectivity. So we are not supposed to be biased to a certain incident. We are supposed to report it in an objective way. Independency. So basically, like traditional journalism, they report in an independent way and very balanced way. So again, citizen journalists should report in an independent way. Transparency, so be open about sources, method, and conflict to maintain trust. Privacy and sensitivity, we have to respect the privacy of people. Here in the UAE, we have a strict rule that you cannot really take photos of people on the beach, in supermarkets, and everywhere and expose their photos, because this is infringing their privacy. So basically, these are sensitive subjects. You are not supposed to expose people without written consents from them. Even one day we were handling social media activities in a mall, and we took into consideration that we cannot take photos of people, we cannot video them. This is against breaking their privacy. And we are supposed to harm prevention, so we don't want to harm people when we report things, because sometimes also people have their privacy, their dignity, their social boundaries. Sometimes we cannot jump over it. So what is the future of journalism? That's actually a big question that was discussed over 2 days in the forum that I attended. But we can just like summarize it in this way, that citizen journalism growth is driven by the internet and social media. Traditional journalism credibility remains important. So basically, it's very important that we maintain both. So traditional journalism is important to create credibility, and the future blends both. And then funny enough that the traditional media here, I think everywhere in the world, they have now a digital arm and social media arm. So feel the same newspaper or magazine, they have their magazine, they didn't close it. Maybe it's becoming online, not print, but still they are having their social media platforms and their, digital platforms. So I think that the future blends both together, leveraging their strengths for a dynamic news landscape. So those who like to read in-depth information, more credible information, they can go to traditional media. And those who like light news, want to get everything quick, and they don't have the patience, they can go to social media or both. And then adaptability and ethical reporting are key to this unified future. So that's why, the discussion. So all in all, I think that the future is for both. And then we feel that most of us now are getting our news through our smartphones. So I'm not sure how many of you are still reading real magazines and newspaper, not over smartphones. That's why even I think that we were discussing with our friends within local newspaper here that they have two versions of the story. So the same story they write in the print and for the website is a little bit long, and then the one that they write for their social media platforms is like very short. So it's 1 line, 2 lines, and that's it. So some people, they don't care about the analysis or about the background. They just want information quickly. So in summary, social media influence has fueled the growth of citizen journalism, where we say that for those who joined us late, that citizen journalism is that every one of us is becoming a journalist using the same platform, whether Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or LinkedIn. The paramount focus on social responsibility, emphasizing the need for accurate, meticulously fact-checked information. We speak about like the need for accuracy and ethical practices. So also this here, at least in some countries in the Middle East, like people, like the government is putting strict rules on covering things on social media to say that be responsible. So when you want to report something, when you want to be a citizen journalist, when you want to write on your social media platforms, you have to be responsible, you have to be ethical, and you have to be moderate. And that's where the importance to teach this kind of practices to people, because in the past, these were taught in the universities to students who are studying media. These days, we have to make sure that everybody in the world is having these practices, because at the end it's becoming part of life, because as we said that all of us have our mobile phones and all of us could be somehow journalists. So this is the end of my presentation. I would like to thank you all for listening and attending, and I would like to get your questions.
Yeah, thank you so much, Nidal. It was really comprehensive, really informative. There's a couple of questions in here, so I'm going to go straight in. So one here is, let's go back to the chats. What is the long-term impact of social media information not being verified, and how will it affect our understanding of what is real?
Well, there's no simple answer for this, because this is something that's debatable. It's part of the discussion every day at professional conferences, that where a lot of legal consultants in each government are sitting together to create some kind of laws to protect people and their privacy, and then making sure that wrong information is not disseminating. I think this is a debate that's happening every day at Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn, is that how to control fake news, how to make sure that the news is correct. So there's no straightforward answer. I think that part of it is that the rules of the government, and regulations, and then the social responsibility of people, where it's going to be, basically, I think that more awareness about the importance of spreading the right information. And then I think somebody here is commenting that also social media, the news is free, and then sometimes if you want to get traditional media, it's paid. So that's not an easy answer, to be honest, but I try to explain it as much as I can.
I have a question in here from Leave, I think it is, and it's referring to the example you quoted there, Domino's, and they're asking, wasn't it a good thing that someone took an undercover video of health and hygiene violations? Without the evidence and social pressure, the company would not have changed their practices?
Actually, this is part of, in theory, this is wrong. In practice, this is happening every day. So every day there is somebody reporting incidents, mistakes, problems. I mean, in Beirut airport, people were just like coming in thousands and thousands, and then the airport is not able to manage this. So they say no photography. And then people didn't respect this. They took the photos, they put it in the media, and then it was a kind of a public issue. They put a lot of pressure on the management to increase the number of people, and so that you don't have to wait for hours. A lot of humiliation at the airport when people are tired, they are coming to their country or they're leaving their country. So sometimes you feel that it's important to highlight certain issues. It's important to also issue or highlight a lot of bad practices by certain individuals. So sometimes you feel it's important, although in some countries it's becoming kind of forbidden to publish this news, but at the end of the day also it's having an advantage that it's highlighting a lot of issues that traditional media, either they don't want to highlight them or they don't have the capacity. Because just imagine that, okay, a country like Ireland or Britain, is traditional media going to each corner in the street to cover this, or to see where there's a problem, or where there's violation, or where is this hygiene issues, or where is something that's affecting the lives of people? It's not going to happen. While in social media, and when people are having their mobile phones, they can be a media outlet. So I think that it's important sometimes to have this kind of combination. It's important to have this citizen journalism, because sometimes it's also people are covering these stories and highlighting them because they are responsible. Sometimes they took the video because they are responsible, because sometimes the traditional media, especially in third world countries, can misinterpret the facts. Means they can tell you a story in a different way. In Libya, for example, the floods demolished 2 dams because of so it was like basically a scandal, because the government paid money to those authorities to maintain these dams, and then they didn't pay attention, and the dams collapsed, and then a whole city was wiped, so 20,000 people approximately died, and then till now they are still searching for it. So if you hear like the traditional news, you don't get these kind of stories. And then the incident in Iraq yesterday, traditional media was not there. They cannot cover every single wedding. Only thanks to social media and to citizen journalists who covered it, and from different areas, before the catastrophe, during, after the fire, and then 120 people killed. And then without those cameras, without those media outlets, on social media, we don't know the truth. I mean, the traditional media maybe don't have the full story. They just, so basically, I think sometimes it's important. Of course, sometimes it's damaging for certain brands. It can affect certain brands, but at the end of the day, it's my right as a person who's using, for example, who enter a pizza restaurant to know if they are hygienic or not, if they follow certain. Yeah. Because really, when we enter restaurants, we don't see what's behind the doors, how they prepare our food. So basically, this will also encourage them to put cameras and then monitor their employees if they are violating the rules. This is happening in restaurants. What's happening in hospitals? I mean, at the end of the day, you want to know whether there are violations in hospitals. And I think that all of us hear that there are always violations everywhere in the world.
I'm going to take this question from Claire because it takes the responsibility kind of up a level from almost the journalist to the publishing platforms. So she's asking, what about when platforms themselves are untrustworthy? For example, today TikTok removed hundreds of profiles spreading divisive comments about Ireland, Taiwan, and other countries.
Of course, in these platforms, there is political influence. We cannot deny. There is political influence in Facebook and in Instagram and everywhere. To be honest, we speak about, I mean, we study in the universities always to be objective. But come on, I mean, we all read news, we all watch news. Do you think that the media is quite objective in all causes? Or the American media or the Chinese media or the Indian media or the British media is always biased in a way. So basically, in theory, everybody should be unbiased and professional. But in reality, we know that at the end of the day, the media is sometimes biased and is sometimes having a special agenda, and there's always influence of governments in the media and influence of business people. I mean, we have a lot of countries where business people, they own certain newspapers and they can influence it. So don't expect that a shareholder in a newspaper, the newspaper will write something bad about him. So basically, I think that this is happening also on social media platforms. So, and we don't know whether the news that was removed is correct to be removed or not, because what's correct from your own point of view is not correct from my own point of view. We have to question ourselves that is the media really neutral, or it's affected by money and influence of government and so on the social media. So again, like there's a big debate about this, and the answer is not easy, but I think that this is a common thing that will continue to happen.
Okay, so the questions are coming in fast here, Nidal.
Yes.
Let me find, there was one here around, I think around PR, and I know that affects a lot. How does citizen journalism affect the future of communication specialists if the number of traditional media outlets is declining sharply?
Well, let's take our group as an example. Now we are benefiting from having more media outlets. So basically, by the time that we have maybe 6 magazines in Dubai for like cars and motors, we have maybe about 50 influencers. So basically, we have more media outlets to benefit from. And then one brand like Cartier want to advertise, they can find that all these influencers who have hundreds of thousands of followers or millions of followers, they are also media outlets. So basically, I feel that traditional media will continue, but it's having less and less followers. So it's a big question for how long it will continue. It's a big question whether the traditional social media platforms that we have now will be continuing in the same way, or there'll be new social media platforms that can overtake them, because we know that every media outlet is having a life cycle. So a newspaper can run for 20 years and closing down, or maybe moving from one platform to the other. We've seen a lot of international publication like Business Week and Financial Times closing their print version, moving to into digital media. We don't know if the Facebook in the future will be the same Facebook that we have now, or there'll be new technology. Whether we reach a stage where it's merging with artificial intelligence and augmentation, where, you know, for example, I'm talking, I mean, in the future, I've seen something about metaverse where people like us talk, and then the metaverse is showing that we are in one room because they imitate my image and Ellen's image and everyone's image, and then we can really meet virtually, and it's becoming more reality. And then I don't know the effect of artificial intelligence is something that's really threatening, because we tried it. I mean, we put a text on artificial intelligence and it gave us a nice video. And then we used it to imitate the voices of people. And then it also imitated in a very nice way. So basically, you can put Ellen's voice there, and then you put a text, and then Ellen will read a text that she never spoke about. So we really don't know about the future. I think that we are in a transition period, because we are in a period where we are a generation between two ages, the age of traditional media and social media, and the beginning of artificial intelligence and augmentation reality, and I don't know what the terms that are coming in the future, but I think that what's happening in the future, we don't know really the end of it. I think there's Anna who wants to speak. Maybe you can allow her to speak if she has any question.
Sure. I'm just trying to see Anurada, is it?
Anna Mola.
Oh yeah, you're off. Your mute is off, Anna. If you'd like to go ahead. No, I'm not hearing anything. So
okay, fine. We can move to the next question.
Ratio, we'll just do one more, and then I think we'll be running over. So I guess it's a bit around your AI. I saw one there from Yvonne. Citizen journalists can't compete with professionalism. I feel this will be apparent in their posts. Perhaps if citizen journalists combine with AI content, this could be a concern.
Well, it is, because, I mean, as I told you, I've seen in myself that artificial intelligence now can create videos, can create posts, can create facts. And we really don't know what will create in the future. But, you know, it's becoming quite challenges when they can imitate the voice of people, they can create video. I think all of us have seen previous American President Trump with a lot of fake videos and his voice. And at the end of the day, we don't know really what about the future. There is a lot of challenges for traditional media. You know, traditional media at the end of the day was fueled by advertising in the past. Means that's how we keep the newspapers running, and that's how people are paid their salaries. Now there's no advertisement on traditional media, and this is becoming a big challenge for all of them, that how we are going to survive. Means, you know, how we are going to run a newspaper or a magazine without really any source of income. I mean, you find now in our area, people who are like 19, 18, 20, they make more money than, without any cost, without any capital, without any investment, they are making more money than a traditional newspaper that's been running for 30 years. So at the end of the day, what is the future of this traditional media? I mean, maybe they have readers, but who's going to finance them? I mean, are you going to pay for newspapers to read? I mean, because people got used that newspapers are free of charge on the internet, or, you know, you can buy them with, like here in our country, with 30 fills, which is maybe in $1 you can buy 3 issues or 4 issues. So basically, again, how this traditional media is going to run. who's going to finance it when there is no revenue. So that's why I think that most of the traditional media in the Middle East is trying to make money from social media advertisement and social media platforms, and even selling their services to others so they can survive. So, but I can also tell you that most of the news that people read here is becoming condensed. So a lot of the government announcements here in the UAE are done on X, on Instagram, on LinkedIn. So people don't wait for a newspaper to come the next morning. So I think that people are now moving from the age of reading text to the age of seeing videos. So they want the news in video in 1 minute, 30 seconds. They don't want to read a big article.
Yeah, makes sense. Spoon feeders, please make it easy. Okay, well, listen, I
Yes.
think we've run out of time, and apologies for those questions I didn't get to. I'm going to hand over to Ellen to finish off.
Nidal, we could run for another hour here very easily. We didn't touch on public service media and whether or not governments around the world should actually pay so that we citizens can have a journalism that is actually researched and guaranteed to be as bias-free as is possible. We didn't touch on data and who owns data on social media, and is data the new gold. We didn't look at so many different issues around what the future will become. I think you really, for me anyway, you nailed it when you said we're at this crossroads. We're this middle generation between the traditional media and a digital world that we don't yet fully understand. We don't know yet what it will develop into. I think your insights were absolutely phenomenal, and signs on it so many questions in the chat, and the people wanted to continue it. Thank you so much for today. I really, really enjoyed that, got tons from it. And I think on behalf of everybody else, I can honestly say one of the best spent hours in a long time. Thanks a million, Nidal.
Thank you very much, Alan, and your team. And I would like to thank those who attended this session. And I wish you a very nice day. And thank you very much for listening.
Thanks so much. Cheers.
Take care. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Nidal. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.